What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business and Biceps. And you better wake your ass up.
Fucking up, man. Let's go here.
On today's show, we're going to talk about how to handle stress, John.
Okay.
I think that'll be good because I think everyone handles stress differently. Maybe there's something that you're going to say today, John.
Maybe.
That's going to help one of our listeners.
Well, some have called me a visionary. Some have
agree with
called
that.
me a mogul. So I think maybe I might be. I'm kidding. I think it's a great topic. Everyone can relate to it, and everyone has stress and deals with stress in different ways. And if we can give some pointers, I think the listeners are winning.
We have two powerhouse sponsors today, LinkedIn and Square. Think about this for a second, John. This started...
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
It is intense, and I want to take a second to thank our sponsors, obviously, but to think about where we've come as a show. We were recording, listen up, everybody, on freeconferencecall.com with one sponsor that gave us and free fish to begin.
We got some trout. We got some, whatever.
It has come a long way.
We got a little schizophrenia, too. But yeah, I mean, honestly, having Square and LinkedIn, literally two of Silicon Valley's biggest monsters, with two of the most brilliant minds leading those organizations. Yeah, it's humbling. And Square is just, I think in this day and age, when you're talking about payment processing, like the same way we say LinkedIn is where you go to hire, Square is where you go to process payments.
Absolutely.
It makes it so much easier on the fly. We were just at the Arnold. We were swiping credit cards all day long. And they also have great POS software. They also have great lines of credit that they're lending out based on your receipts.
Which is awesome, by the way, which we'll dig deeper in. But it's I'm really excited to have LinkedIn and Square on here just because it showcases how far we've come on the show. And you guys should definitely support them because they're supporting you.
Yeah.
All right, so... time for Fosco's World. Coming to the arena. He's wearing number 45.
Okay.
Not 23.
Man.
Because he came back a day ago, John.
All right.
It was the reunion or anniversary of when Jordan came back.
Okay.
So I thought about you.
All right. Thank you.
He was, I believe, wearing the Jordan 11s. He was wearing number 45.
He was wearing a lot of things.
He came back. So 6'6", 227. Ripped abs, 12-pack, not 8.
Okay.
Not 6.
I'll take it. I'll take it. You're being realistic now. So.
Very realistic.
Yep.
And now is a new member of the 5:30 a.m. crew.
5:30. Yes, I am technically. Yes. Made some friends.
And I would recommend that he continues that process ongoing.
Yes.
To the stage.
Oh!
The number one hitter, John Fosco.
What's up? What?
That was maybe my best one.
I think that was clearly your best one. Maurice, are you there? Yeah, I'm here.
Maurice still on vacation.
Yeah, Maurice still on I just wanted to see if he was here. But I know you said you had some curveballs for me. So
I do.
I don't know what you're throwing at me, but all I can tell you, bro, is that I fucking go yard.
Oh!
Okay? I go yard.
All right, I got a few.
I can go Oppo. I can go Mike Trout.
So we're going to ad-lib a little bit. I've got some things I'm going to fire at Fosco. And he can one-word answer me or give me a story, whatever he would like to do. And they're going to apply to business and life. And maybe one or two sports ones I'm throwing at you just for fun.
And maybe some seed.
And 3, 2, 1. What is John Fosco fired up about right now?
What am I fired up about? I would say I am most fired up about the fact that I feel like our country is severely divided, and I feel like it's our own doing. And it's not okay to be one country. Listen, everyone can believe whatever they want to believe, and I'll fucking respect it all day long. But there's a global effect. America leads the world in everything. And I'm not going to blame America. No. But, a bunch of people, just 49 people got killed in New Zealand. There's this just nationalist effect going on. And we're dealing with an inconsistent leader who's followers, which I don't have a problem with, have some pretty intense thoughts on people who do not agree with them. And so what I'm unhappy about, not taking sides, is the fact that this one country is starting to feel like two.
Yeah, that's for sure, John. What are you excited about?
I'm excited about life, and I'll be a little bit more descriptive about that. I think I think life gives you what you give it. So the more time I spend trying to figure out things about myself, things that make me happy, my weaknesses and how to improve them, how to make relationships better, I feel like the more life gives me. So I'm excited to kind of just continue to push on understanding myself, because whenever I push on that and I either work with a professional or I work thoughts through in my head, I have breakthroughs. I understand myself better. I understand why I act a certain way better, and I'm able to connect with people better, and I'm able to lead better, and ultimately just be happier. And that translates to business, and it's just a lifestyle. So like we talk about, right? Like boring. Who says like life is this amazing gift, but it's also so depressing if you choose to do nothing with it. It's really like this.
Either way, man.
It's like this fucking sandbox that we all get put in, and some of us are just like, hey, this is the corner where I take my nap every day, and the other ones are fucking running around trying to, build a jungle gym and do other shit, So I'm just excited about, I feel like with every day that goes by, I understand life a little bit better.
Love it.
Yeah.
What is John nervous or scared about?
I'm nervous about about the fact that my mom's turning 75 years old, and I'm a realist. And when you listen, when you cross certain thresholds, mortality is just part of the conversation.
For sure.
And the thing I fear most about myself is dealing with situations that I have no frame of reference with. I've always said this. I've learned to manage bad behavior, but putting myself in a situation where I've never been in, that is so catastrophic to me, I don't know what I'm capable of.
You've never lost anybody close to you, huh, Johnny?
I have,
okay.
But my mom's in a league of her own.
League, yeah.
So I couldn't predict my behavior. I cannot predict my behavior. And it's not about that. Obviously, I care more about her.
Of course.
But it's kind of the compounding effect. So it's something I think about. Do I worry about it? No. I take any maybe worry that would come up, and that's when I dial the phone. Right? Because
and talk to her.
Yeah, take action, right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm thinking about, oh shit, my mom is 75, you never know. Motherfucker, pick up the phone, get on a plane, go visit her, talk to her, make your presence known, take action.
I love it. Great answer, John.
Yeah.
What do you look forward to?
I look forward to simple shit, man. I look forward to being able to, so I have this thing where like I cannot relax until about 7 p.m. And that's typically after a day of work and after a workout. And I truly look forward to every night just being able to turn my brain off and enjoy peace. Like sometimes from 7 to 9 or 7 to 10, or it could be 8 to 10, I literally will be like, I didn't watch anything. I didn't do anything on my computer. Like, what did I do? and I think the answer is just like, I found a way to be at peace and just like, I don't know, man, maybe go somewhere else. But like, I literally look forward to every night just earning, not having that time.
Earning it.
It's earning it.
Ooh, I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
I found myself doing that a lot more, like driving and not listening to anything.
Right.
Just really understanding, like just having my own thoughts and being quiet Like
totally
that doesn't happen very often in our lives.
Right.
And that's a key time. I love it.
Yeah.
What do you miss, John?
I miss the feeling of not always being at battle. I miss the feeling of not always having to beat people. Every day I wake up and I think about winning, and I love that, but there's certain things that remind me that, like, dude, bro, you're burning the candle at both ends. Like, there was a time, and it almost makes me a little bit sad. There was a time where you didn't think like that. You didn't think about beating people, winning, beating. There was like this kind of I don't want to say immature, but just this maybe innocent happiness just from things that don't make me happy now.
Interesting. What's your favorite, I guess, hobby? Like, what is something that you might not be able to do all the time, but when you get to do it, you're just fucking pumped?
I would say undeniably watch music live, because when I watch music live, I'm completely separated from reality. I'm completely in the. There's very few things that can get me. You know, I talked about video games a couple episodes ago. That's a little bit different. You're still in your own space, whatever. But when you're watching music live and music, you know, music to everyone is special, but to me, it's super special. I've used it to kind of control my emotions throughout the course of my life. I'm in the moment, and I'll always say, like, the best use of money is going to see a band or an act you love. Like, that's more than just like, oh, they're top 40, like something you love live. Because we talk about making memories, like, those are memories that never go away, and those people who sing those songs, play those songs, they play a part in, like, not only your life, but like your brain, bro.
Yeah.
For your whole life. So, like, that's what I would advise everyone to do, is like those moments. I was telling you the other night about sitting behind the curtain at the Rage Against the Machine show.
So good.
You know what I'm saying?
And we'll wrap it up with, what is John Fosco so fucking tired of?
Oh, well, that list is long.
Yeah, we got to end it with a bang, Johnny.
That list is long. Well, I would say the first thing that came to mind, I think we touched on it before the show, is just talking to people that like to complain about the circumstances they're in, and it's so apparent that they are talking about the past, talking about these same scenarios that are not going to change, right? They're over. But if these people would just transition, or you, the listener, if you're one of these people, if you would just transition to finding a way to let it go and live in the present, then you can move forward. Like, nobody can help you, man, if you're fucking moping about, oh, this girl left me 2 years ago, I had a great job and I need to get her back, and da-da-da-da-da. No, you're an excuse machine, man. like you're an excuse. We all are the reason we're in the position we're in.
Yes.
And
people don't like to look at that. Their decision making is what's got them there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
that's a hard look, though. For
it's a hard look, but I think what magnifies it, and I know me and you have talked about this, is the fact that people will take a look at you or me, and they'll say, "Oh, well, you could say that because you're you." Like we're not putting in the daily work it takes to maintain a level of consistency which breeds success. Like, we just have, this magical fucking, it's...
You got knighted, John.
It's right.
You're Sir John Fosco.
Right. It's just, it's disrespectful as fuck.
It is disrespectful. I know that your disrespect meter is a fucking rocket ship.
Yeah.
When motherfuckers say that shit to me, it makes me want to punch him in the fucking mouth. Because you just discounted everything I did, all those hours, all that imagination, all these things, because you think like I got fairy dusted? Get the fuck out of here.
At the end of the day, yeah, I mean, it's absurd, but I don't really believe that they believe that we got fairy dusted. They're just mad that they're stuck in their position, and they refuse to acknowledge the fact that it's because they are stuck in the past.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
But those were that was some good fucking dialogue, man.
Yeah.
Some good fucking questions.
I wonder if we should just flip it back to me too. You want me to just do one of these numbers right here, Fosco?
Absolutely. I think it's very interesting dialogue. So
I got some good notes on there, Fosco.
Yeah, Corey Gregory coming in hot when Mo's on vacation. Mo's getting that melatonin or whatever they call that. You know, he got that going for him.
All right, what do you got, Johnny?
I want to know what scares you the most.
I've said it before. Is what scares me the most, other than losing a child, scares me at the highest level, no question. Other than that, I would say it somehow going back to the way it used to be. That's why I'll probably work till I'm for a maniac forever, because I was so fed up with the situation that it's driven me to this point that it will be extremely hard for me to let off because of that.
Do you believe rationally or irrationally that you could go back there?
No, absolutely not. But whether I use it like as a thing, because I know rationally that's not going to happen because of the way I've set myself up, but I still think it's a way for me to not get comfortable in a way, right? So we good, Germ?
We lost a minute there. Ask that question again.
All right, we'll go right back through it again.
Okay.
How the fuck did that happen? I didn't even touch it. All right, good catch though. All right, we can clip it.
We straight?
Yeah. So start all the way the first to beginning of the segment.
That most recent question.
All right.
Okay.
Good. Go, John.
You believe rational.
Yep.
Oh, like the second part of the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, should we start the whole thing over again, just so you have a heart? Let's just start the whole segment over. It'll just be easier, so it's easy clip. All right, good, John. Yeah, no worries.
So we're entering Corey Gregory time.
Let's go.
But we're fucking it up today because Corey fucked it up on me.
It was pretty good.
No, it was good. It was real good. What day do you look forward to most?
What day do I look forward to most of the week?
In general, it could be any day. It could be a time. It could be.
Oh man, that's an interesting question. I don't know, because
could be a year.
You know what's so interesting about the days is they don't take the same value as they do maybe for a normal schedule, I guess. So like Saturday does feel a little different than Monday through Friday because I think of my family schedule, but in my brain it doesn't really change a whole bunch. So I think the days of the week don't mean as much probably to entrepreneurs as it does to the 9-to-5 clock-in person. Does that make sense, John? So I would say what I do really enjoy is, it's going to sound funny, I love Monday mornings because I'm back into my schedule, which wins for me and undeniably has for years, right? So unlike most of the world, I enjoy that part. On the flip side, I do enjoy Friday nights also because that's usually something that's set up with my family that I'm excited about because the workday metaphorically is over, or the week, it's not really ever over, but it is in theory because of the schedule that they still follow. And so I think I look forward at the caps of both sides. I need the schedule and yearn for that because that's what wins. But I also, by Friday, adapt to the normal world, and because that's the family stuff that I'm really looking forward to because of the week.
So outside of creating financial stability and opportunity, what would you say to the listener who has a family that needs some motivation and wants to use their family as a tool to motivate them?
Oh man, I think that anybody that is somewhat motivated and that baby pops out, you can't explain how much you can love something to that level that you would jump in front of a fucking plane or train to save. Like you can't really explain it unless you experience it, right? So that has to be I don't know how that can't be the ultimate motivation. To me, like when Alex popped out, I was like, shit got real, because now it's like all this shit you've been talking about wanting to do, now it's here. Not only is it here, it's a son. You get a chance to fix that as a dad. You get a chance to try to teach him the financial stuff you wasn't taught. You get a chance to take all this shit to an entirely different level. And so it like enhanced my motivation times. And every child that popped out after that, on top of that, just not wanting them to experience what I experienced. So I don't know how it can't be motivation. Now, on the flip side, John, people use it as a crutch though too, because they go, yo, now I got a family. I can't really you can't really what? Like we had a family. Rachel, when I started Muscle Farm, Alex was already, I want to say like he was young. She was pregnant with Madeline. Dude, I had $100,000+ business. I gave it away. We had to cash in Rachel's 401k from her being a teacher to pay the mortgage for a year. Like it was absolute. It was all in. Like it was 2008. The housing crisis just happened. That wasn't like the best time to fucking start a business, bro. No. Like my situation looked like, honestly, most people would have said no. They would have said, no, dude, you're already making 6 figures. You got a nice little log cabin. You got your family. You got your dog. You're good. And by standards of how I grew up, I'm real good. But it wasn't enough. So it's like, I think that you should be able to use it for more motivation. Don't use it as a crutch. But that scarcity of once that stability is more needed per se because of the family, that holds a lot of entrepreneurs back. But I think you can find a way and challenge yourself to find a way.
So if I'm a dude who has a son and a daughter, and I'm hearing you and I'm just like, that sounds great, but I'm not motivated, man. I'm a mechanic.
Yeah, you should stay in your job.
What do you mean?
Means if you're not motivated, then it's not for you. You should stay in your job and be motivated at your job to execute so you can pay your bills and provide for your family. And there you go. I don't know what else to explain after that. You know what I'm saying? Like you either got it or you don't got it.
As a parent.
I mean, from a standpoint of like you're either using that for motivation to send it to another level. But see, here's the difference. I never want to like cast anything down on anybody because everybody's motivation and aspirations are so different than each other. Like there's nothing wrong with a guy that busts his ass, provides for his family, and you know, they get 1 vacation a year, 2 vacations a year. They always have good food. They're set up. There's a lot of working class dudes I know that do that don't complain about their lives, that are fine with it, and that's what they want. Maybe they aspire to do some other things, but they're just not kind of willing to sacrifice the things that it takes. If you're the guy that's sitting there and you're fucking complaining all the time because you think this, that, or another, then you should look at your family, use it for motivation, and aspire to do more and go do it.
I got you there. So you hit me with this, but this is people probably, you know, they like to hear the vulnerability. Mm-hmm. Nervous or scared about?
Yeah, the most scared about 2 things. One, ever losing a child. I watched my grandparents go through it twice. Man, that and then my aunt had the same thing happen. I think that would be brutal to come back from. That's probably the thing I'm the most scared about. Losing my dad, you know, kind of give me a dose of that, and that'd be tricky. So I pray daily that you know, I don't pray daily for that, but that would never happen. But that's the thing that occupies my mind that would scare me the most. Secondly is that it would ever go back to the way it was. That something I would do because I'm not set up this or set up that somehow it could return back to trailer type shit, right? Rationally, we talked about this off air. That's not going to happen. I'm too crazy. I've got myself too set up. No way. But I use that daily as a motivation tool. Like you said, when we were talking before, like, gee, you know, that's not going to happen, right? Of course. But that fact that all of this work could get put in But see, what's interesting about, even when I think about that rationally, the skills that you put up, even if you're dropped in somewhere, like we've talked about this, 20 years of skills, you could take everything away tomorrow. We'll build it right back up. Right. It's just the way it works, right? When you amass these type of skills. But I think, once again, the games you play in your own head in this life to keep the motivation stoked, that is when I feel the downgrade in motivation, I just think of myself sitting in my trailer bedroom that was like basically the size of your closet that I'm staying in your bedroom here, and think, fuck this, and that's what I was thinking when I was in it. Fuck this. I'm getting the fuck out of here. So I think that's probably the two things I'm the most scared about.
Do you think the listener needs to make a decision on whether or not they believe in a God or not to live a straight life?
Like, do they have to define it?
Whether or not they believe in a God or not.
That's an interesting question. I don't know. I think that here's what I believe. I don't believe you have to go to a church or praise a certain person or whatever you believe in to be a good person and live a quote unquote holy life, right? Or whatever you classify it as. Because growing up in the Catholic Church, you did too also, right? Italiano American, that the pedestal of the priest and the just so defined, you got to do this or you're a sinner. I just never really bought into all that. I knew people that never went to church a day in their life that lived very happy, good lives, did right by people. So they didn't go, so they shouldn't ascend to whatever there is, right? I don't know if I buy all that. I think a lot of that's manufactured, but I do believe that there's a higher power of some sort, but I don't think you necessarily have to define it, because I don't think anybody really knows.
So I'm going to expand on that for 1 minute. The reason I asked you that is because a very interesting part of our interview with the Ohio State, Tom Ryan, the wrestling coach,
great
was
guy.
He said that's the first thing he tells his wrestlers.
Interesting.
Remember when he said you have to make a decision whether or not, I'll support it either way, but whether or not you believe in God or if you don't. And let me know that decision and I'll support it. But that's the first thing.
Yeah,
I've always thought about that.
I don't agree with that, though.
Okay.
I love Tom Ryan. I love
Okay.
Tom Ryan.
Okay.
Because I don't know, when you're an 18-year-old kid, maybe you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe you do know. I don't know. But because the way Tom, if you think about how Tom is, he lost a child. I believe Christ is one of the main ways that he got through that. That's just from my perception, from knowing him a small amount. And I feel him on that. But it's like to push a kid in a corner and make him, and then you're going to take one side or the other. I mean, because of the way he thinks, there's no way that's like,
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So that, if I was a kid and coming to his program, that would throw me off.
Gotcha.
Even if I was like, oh yeah, it would be weird for me.
What role has a God or played in your life or not played in your life?
Oh, I think being in the church as a kid was that's cool. Being in the church as a kid, I think reading the Bible, which is so interesting, a lot of the verses that Andrew Carnegie talks about, that's where they all derive from, right? They're not written in Bible verse terms, but the things that I study are very biblical. And so I think that it played a huge role as a kid, just because it was ever present. But I think the structure of Catholicism, I rebelled as soon as I was able to. Like when I was 18 and it wasn't like, hey, you got to go to church every Sunday. I was like, but I think I rebelled against everything my parents made me do anyway. But I think that the Bible's just a bunch of stories on how you're supposed to live or how to interact with people.
Do you believe in God?
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ?
Yes. I believe that, I don't know if I believe all the stories, you know what I'm saying? But I believe that, yes. I just don't know if they got it all the way right.
Gotcha. Interesting stuff.
It is interesting stuff.
Stuff.
Do you, John?
I do.
You believe in the exact story?
No. I think the Bible is meant to teach lessons.
Yeah.
I do not believe the Bible should be interpreted word for word. If you interpret
literal, yeah.
If you interpret it word for word, the same way people can look at the Quran and say infidels should be killed, you could look at the Old Testament and you could say gay people should be killed, which I do not agree with, obviously.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I think it's a moral standard, but I don't think Jesus Christ is the Bible. He didn't write the Bible.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think Jesus Christ is a whole different
So there's
deal.
some there's definitely some of the stuff doesn't line up. So that's why when people ask me if there's a higher power, I don't see how there couldn't be.
Right.
But I don't believe that it's all in that book.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree. And I also think that now's a good time to go to Butt Life.
All right, let's go.
All right, everyone, keep on sending us questions at Biz and Biceps on Instagram and Twitter. If we use your question on the air, we'll send out a free T-shirt for you. First question.
Butt Life Q1.
Q1. I own a gym and have a partner who has become increasingly less interested in the business. How can I handle this, and what is your advice on how to remove a bad partner from a business?
How to remove a bad... Well, first things first. I think before you go to documentation, which you should have in place, but I'll get to that in a minute, direct communication. You know, if you go to the partner and say, hey, man, listen, I'm working 70 hours a week. You're stopping in on Saturdays to get a workout in. You're leaving, man. This isn't a partnership. This is a luxury for you, and it's a fucking burden for me. You know what I'm saying? That's direct communication. Now, if the partner doesn't see it the way you see it, then you should have an operating agreement that spells out everybody's responsibilities that you could point at and say, listen, man, the last thing I want to do is take this to a lawyer, but you're not living up to your fiduciary duties, which should be spelled out. You know, if you're working 40 hours, he should work 40 hours, et cetera, et cetera. But if he gives you a tough time, going to lawyers, unfortunately, in business is something that we have to do. But what I want people to understand is there's like a 1% probability you ever end up in a courtroom. So a lot of people think lawyers, courtrooms. No. There's all settlements happen. Basically, if you got a case against someone, a judge will make that very clear, and then he will call for litigation. The people who are defending that typically go for some type of settlement when that happens. But I always think communicate first.
I think that he might not think he's a bad partner. You know what I'm saying? Like what I've learned is, you know, you might think one thing, and because you haven't communicated it, he could think something completely different. He might think he's the best fucking partner you ever had.
He might be bulls at a fucking clown too.
Exactly. So I think communication and just having an honest conversation, like, look, man, I don't think you're really into it right now. Yeah. How do we, you know, kind of just make this work? Obviously, maybe you have an operating agreement, maybe you don't. I just think that
operating agreement.
You just got to go straight down the middle with it.
Next
question.
Butt
Life Q2.
My family has a business, and my dad has talked about wanting me to get involved and to eventually hand it down to me. It's not that I'm not interested in the business, but I'm worried about the business harming our relationship. What are your thoughts on working with family?
I think that's a great question.
It is.
Because it's so easy to say, I'm going to take over the family business because you got your career path made. You don't got the stress everyone else does. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? But you're questioning it. And I think that's fucking fantastic, because if your family business is a construction company and the last thing you want to do is deal with fucking jackhammers every day, you know, it's a great question. And I don't know the financial arrangement of your family if the business is large enough to where all family members own equity or what it is. But I would say if you have another interest, I would say stay away from the family business, because it's going to, unless you have a straight passion for it and you want to build it, it's going to adversely affect your relationships. And I've had too many relationships taken from me over fucking little shit having to do with business that if I could do over again, I just never would get involved with that stuff.
Do you know anybody, John, that has a family business that's actually passionate about it and loves it? Like, that is in their family business? Do you have any acquaintances? I don't know anybody that does this, that gets in it and is like, I fucking love it.
That's a good point.
Actually, the guys I know wish they would have done something else, because by the third generation, they're not even into it. Now they might walk into
a lot of money,
$200,000 salary,
or a lot more,
or even a lot more.
Yeah.
So I get it. Like, I would not for 1 second think that Alex, Andon, or Madeline want to run old school gym, let's say. Like,
what about Cory G Fitness?
Yeah, or Cory G Fitness. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what about the Glog, dude?
What about the Glog? So I just don't think, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you have like Flower-Rama and it's like 5 generations deep, you walk into it. But at the end of the day, like if you're not passionate about it,
I ain't into Flower-Rama, dude.
Yeah,
that wouldn't work with me.
Yeah, you wouldn't take over your family Flower-Rama?
No, that's not my deal.
Not your program? All right, next.
Do you guys
think Q3.
Do you guys think there is value in taking the time to sit down and write out a detailed business plan if you aren't seeking investors? Or is it a pointless task because of all the audibles you have to call throughout the process of starting your business?
That's tough because it's like the practice of writing out a business plan, it's not a bad thing.
No.
So if you don't have time pushing on you and you don't have money pushing on you, I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think it's going to give you all the answers you need or probably even 10% of the answers you need. But at least it'll give you some kind of functioning outline that you can reference and add to and subtract from. So I don't think it's a bad thing. But I do think it's a bad thing when people think just because they have a business plan that they're ready to go into business.
Or that just because they wrote it out, it's going to end up looking like that.
Yeah,
which never happens, by the way.
I think spread the seed. So.
I think the practice of putting intentional thought around your business on a piece of paper is really important. I think that thinking that's your Bible of how it's going to work, and that's literally like that's never going to work. So I don't think it's a bad thing to do it. I just know that it's going to change probably dramatically through the process. So time for the main event.
Ring the bell with a little passion here, okay?
All right, John. How to handle stress. Motherfuckers are stressed out, bro. Out here in these streets. Out here in the streets, they're stressed out. I think I'll say stress and anxiety are probably the two things that we hear constantly in our society. Yeah. That are, and we could really touch on both if we want. Sure. I think that it's a major problem. It's a hindrance to success. It's got people hemmed up in their houses and afraid to go out and stressed out about situations they can't control. And just a lot of people are fucking stressed the fuck out, bro.
Yeah. So you're 100% right. I just think, so stress in my mind is a illogical thought. A logical thought is that whatever I'm stressed about or have anxiety about isn't real or has not materialized yet. So if it's not real and has not materialized yet, then I, John, or Cory, or Jeremy, or Trey, or whoever, I have the power to do something about it to prevent this fear, this stress from actually materializing.
Yeah.
And I think because it's such a powerful emotion that can lead to, like you said, anxiety, it can lead to depression, people quiver and people hide and they don't want to deal with it because it is like a motherfucking monster pressing on you. But you have to realize, like, you got to look up and you got to be like, oh, there's not a monster pressing on me. Like, I am in my own head.
Yeah, it's in your head.
I am in my head. So sure, you could be here. The most common, stressed about money, right?
Yeah.
I'm stressed about money. I got to support my family. I don't know what the fuck to do. The world's fucking caving in. Dude, bro, go get another job, work more hours, talk to your manager, tell your manager you want to move up. There's always things you can do about it. But when you just say, I don't have enough money, I don't know how I'm going to support my kids, I don't know how I'm going to feed them, all you're doing is you're making that monster bigger.
Yeah.
As opposed to saying, what am I going to do about it?
It's almost like how we look at, any type of solution in business. You have to like dissect it and get a plan. It's really, stress can be essentially dissected and taken apart the same way. If this is what you're stressed about, then literally, like, I feel like people are afraid to do this, and it's so simple. Get out a piece of paper and go, how do I fix this shit?
Yeah.
Literally, like, instead of just letting it occupy and rent space in your head for all this fucking time, you're worried for hours and hours and days about this shit that if you sat down and said, all right, here's my number. Here's what I'm stressed about. Do I get a side job? Do I start cutting grass? Can I humble myself to fix this shit? Who do I need to ask help from? What is my actual strategy to fix this? Right. And then, just like anything else, when you prepare and you have a solution, the stress will start to leave you, which will make you feel so much better. Yeah. And when you're actually executing that plan and you fix this motherfucker, it's like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do that sooner?
Yeah.
Or why didn't I take that on a lot faster?
Right.
Why did I let it just fucking bubble up to this geyser that fucking just blew my brain? I don't get it.
It's and I've used this example before on the podcast, and I don't know if it's stress or what it is, but it's so ironic that when it comes to paying bills, that gives me stress. And I'll open, obviously, like I have plenty of money, and it's like every bill should be paid for fucking 5 years, but that gives me stress. And
it's the act of it, though.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
I don't even know what it is. But I know that when it really starts to get to me, I literally sit down with myself and say, obviously this is an easy one to figure out. I'm not saying woe is me. I just sit down.
You're not stressed because the money's not there.
Yeah. I just say, John, okay, so, because here's my biggest problem, right? My biggest problem is saying that work needs to stop and my mind needs to go off work to do something else.
Gotcha.
That's where I'm always in the space of, yeah, I'll do this later when I'm done, right? And then my brain is burnt out, like I talked about. So I just sit there and say, okay, you're going to dedicate the 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock hour to squaring everything away, and then I solve it and I feel so much better. But sometimes that feeling will go on for 2 weeks.
And you keep putting it off and putting it off.
I put it off because we convince ourselves of things that feel natural to us.
Yeah.
And work is natural to me. So it makes sense in my head when I tell it my head that, bro, work's more important. You got the money. Oh, a late fee. That's scary. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, I hope I don't sound pompous here. I'm just being honest.
Such a dick.
No, I'm just being honest.
Agree.
But, you know, I think one other thing to add is that, so if people break down that monster and say, you know, what are the actionable steps? Because it's not just money.
No.
Sometimes it's relationships and all that stuff. Well, they could get to the point where they're honest with themselves. But when they're honest with themselves, that thing that they know they have to do, that scares the living fuck out of them because they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it. So they're living this life that they know is not fulfilling, that they know is struggle fest, right? Mm-hmm. And there's one way to fix it, and it's clear, but that is too overwhelming, so they live in this pressure cooker. They live in like this vice, and they wonder why their quality of life is marred with stress.
Yeah. Well, I think when I think about stress, I think about directly related to procrastination. Kind of to your point, you put it off for 2 weeks, so it just festers, right? And it's like just the act of setting aside 2 hours to fix it, right. You keep pushing it off. So I think everyone procrastinates on stuff. I procrastinate on stuff. I procrastinate on the tax stuff like crazy. I pay my taxes, I do, but just putting together all the shit.
Right.
It's
the same feeling.
It's the same feeling. And so to set aside literally an hour or 2 hours to do a bunch of shit I don't want to do, that feels like I'm wasting my fucking time. Right. And by the way, I'm going to pay at the end of it.
Right. I'm going to get a nice fucking check I got to write for nothing.
Yeah, it fucking sucks. To build a wall.
A wall. We can build a wall, guys.
So
build a fucking wall.
But it's directly linked to procrastination. So if you're wondering why, because stress is like one of those things that, one, isn't real, right, John?
It's fake as fuck.
It's fake as fuck. It's in your head. But if you're wondering why you feel it or think you feel it, see what you're procrastinating on. and then write a list of those things. And I guarantee if you take those out, there'll be another imaginary feeling of letting it down. But it's well documented that people that are high stress have higher blood pressure, have heart attacks, have all kinds of, like, it's because the system is just so aggravated, it's never at a relaxed state.
Listen, I'm a big believer in energy on every level, and I know there's studies out there, but a lot of people, my mom who's had cancer 3 times now, she explains, and obviously she's been in cancer groups, that herself and everyone else who's gone through it have said these are the most stressful times in my life before I get the cancer. So when my body is worn down, when my energy is low, and I'm stressed, that's when the cancer comes in.
I believe that.
So obviously there's no cure for cancer. The science is there, but it's not there. I'm a believer in stress is a clear and present danger to our health.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? Because it drags your energy down, and beyond a clear and present danger to your physical health, dude, stress is the driver of depression.
No question.
And depression is the driver of suicide. And it's the driver of isolation. And it's the driver of school shootings. And it's the driver of people with addiction. No self-confidence, addiction as well. So these things that we think, like, listen, man, if you know we all have things in our life where we know have to be dealt with.
Yep.
They have to be dealt with. So I know it may sound easy, but like, deal with them. Because if you don't, I guarantee you're going to get sick. You're going to get depressed. You're going to suffer from anxiety, or you're just going to live a life that you regret.
Fuck that.
Fuck that. Seed spraying everywhere, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not involved in this.
5:30 a.m. crew.
Anything that's spraying seeds anywhere.
5:30 a.m. crew,
I don't know.
I do.
We've never edited anything.
No.
That you need to leave in, Butt Life.
We're leaving that one in because,
I don't know.
Wow. Well, the listener knows.
I think we're gonna wrap this up, John. But what I want to finish with, we'll call it parting shots, John.
All right. Well,
remember how we used to do that on our old podcast? We used to have parting shots.
Did we?
Yeah, absolutely. On Activate Radio. Remember those days?
Those were the days.
Those were the days. My parting shot on stress is this.
Okay.
We all fucking deal with it. Whether it's on our head or not in our head, it does affect our mental capacity. It affects our physical insides. It affects everything. And everybody is going to have stressors in their lives. Find a set of things that absolutely de-stress you, that you can rely on. Have a strategy, whether it's music, women, John, whatever. It's like,
I didn't say anything.
No, you just looked at me, but they can see that. They can't see that.
I have sunglasses on.
Yes, true.
They're blacked out.
Whatever that may be, and have a strategy to go there to attempt to de-stress yourself.
Robert Kraft, wasn't he being de-stressed?
And then get a piece of paper out, write down a strategy to attack it.
Yeah.
Because if you take it, you just take it head on, no pun intended. This is going bad.
You're parting shots.
Yeah, this is terrible. All over the place.
Man. You just better
all over the place.
Sure
you take it head on and actually have a strategy.
Yeah.
I think your life will be much better and less stressful. Go ahead, Robert Kraft.
Bobby K. But anyways, this
ain't even the drunk one.
No, it's not. Very sober right now. What I would say in closing is that I don't know one person who doesn't have a stressor in their life, something that is continuously on their mind, probably on a daily basis, that creates stress. Fucking A, dude. Just commit to writing that down. I'm not even going to ask you to commit to doing anything about it. Just commit to writing that thing down and putting it in a place where it looks at you. We talk about that all the time with whiteboards. Let it look at you every day, because listen, when you have to face your fear, which I'm trying to tell you to literally do, if you face it long enough, you got to fucking fight the bitch.
Yep.
Right? And hopefully you'll clock that fucking thing right in the chin and it'll fall down. But if you do not put it out there, it's going to live in your headspace and it's going to grow, right? If it's just on a piece of paper, that paper ain't going to grow. It's just going to look back at you. So that would be my advice. And we don't get on these podcasts to fucking rah you up. Like, I really want to take this opportunity, and I'm glad you brought up a parting shot, to just give people something that they can actually do.
Agreed, man.
I need to do it.
We all need to do it, dude.
100%. There's a sweet potato in front of me right now.
It is.
Yeah. It's a little weird.
It is a little weird. But John went grocery shopping.
It's a little inappropriate.
All right. Go to linkedin.com/biceps, especially if you're an employer and you're looking for job talent. They will give you $50 off on your first job post. Terms and conditions apply. And Square. We welcome Square as a new sponsor.
I love
heavy hitter, John.
They're a heavy hitter.
They're both heavy hitters.
So you guys got to understand that the guy who created Twitter, Mr. Jack Dorsey, also created Square.
Boss.
So this is
John. Can you text him so we can get him on?
Dude, he's coming by for dinner later. Okay?
Go ahead.
So that's just that. But don't. Anyways, so Square just honestly makes transacting easier. And when you can plug something into your cell phone and you can accept a credit card, it makes business and transacting so much more efficient. And what they're doing is they're leveraging their business now, like we talked about at the open. Like, they're creating lines of credit for people who use their merchant processing, because they can see, okay, this business is running $32,000 a month. We'll give them a line of $10,000 a month. Hey, man, that's $120,000 a year. You know what I'm saying?
Such a great idea, too.
So it's a fantastic service. They're helping businesses, and they're helping businesses in a smart way, and they keep getting smarter. And now a lot of point-of-sale stuff, if you go into a retailer, you got the flat iPad, the Square deal. It's just sleeker. It's a better experience. And I'm happy to have them as a partner.
Just glad to have LinkedIn and Square, amazing two partners. Maurice Claret on vacation.
I'm right here, man.
Johnny Fosco.
What up?
Can the podcast be stopped? The podcast can't be stopped.